Hi guys, Casey here with Wellbeing Connections, and I'm excited to have you join us for this summary of our Being Present Huddle. So let's jump in here as I share my screen and let's get in. So oftentimes in today's world, we are saying yes to more and more things. Life feels like it's moving faster and faster each day with each commitment we make. And we're constantly thinking about checking things off our to-do lists, hoping that we did enough to get us further along as we move through this life. It's relatable, feeling this pressure to squeeze as much of ourselves out of each moment as we can. And oftentimes that looks like multitasking, saying yes to everything that comes our way. And today I'm going to challenge you to look at this from a different perspective, maybe slowing down, bringing ourselves to the present moment, and identifying what might the benefits of that be. So, we're going to talk about practicing mindfulness. Now, when we practice mindfulness, we are intentionally choosing to be present in the moment. This is where we are able to calmly acknowledge our thoughts, our feelings, our body sensations, and actions without judgment. We get curious about all of those experiences that we're taking in. And when we are present in the moment, we're able to use our self awareness to acknowledge what is happening within us in our internal environment, and also notice how that impacts our external environment or the interactions that we're having with ourselves and others. Now, there's a lot of benefits to practicing mindfulness. Those include being present and practicing self awareness. We're able to respond to the situations or things we encounter versus react. And we can acknowledge that internal environment. This includes our thoughts, our body sensations, and our emotions. Now, all of these impact our well being, and we can practice being present in the moment or mindful through a variety of ways. A couple of those include taking deep breaths, that full inhale followed by a full exhale can help us check in that moment with what's real, that reality. We can hyper focus on what is happening in this present moment. We can also practice a body scan, which allows us to cue into how our body feels in that moment. Do we notice tension or heat? Or do we notice lack of energy and heaviness? And from there, we can get curious to explore where that might have come from or how to move through that to bring ourselves back into that present moment and engage with those around us. We could also complete a sensory check in. Maybe you've heard of this referenced as a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 activity, where we notice 5 things we see, 4 things we can hear, 3 things that we can touch, 2 things that we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. Now, when we start to explore the various ways we can practice mindfulness, one key piece is identifying an anchor. An anchor is something that can help us something that we've already established in our rhythms and routines that can help us establish a new habit. For example, when you arrive home from work or at the end of the day, maybe you park in your garage. That could be an anchor to take a couple deep breaths in your car before you transition to what's next in your day. Maybe you punch in at a time clock at your job. Maybe that's your anchor to roll your shoulders back and just check in with your body and notice how you're feeling as you start your workday. Anchors can be already established habits, rhythms, and routines that you can stack or attach your new behavior to. When we can do this, we can more regularly, and consistently practice our mindfulness. So, we have a few questions for you on how you might consider practicing mindfulness and developing mindfulness and creating it as part of your routine. I want you to reflect on how mindful or present you currently feel in your day-to-day living. How might taking time to intentionally practice mindfulness as you move into the present moment impact you? Or what might you expect to happen as you spend more time bringing yourself to the present moment? I invite you to consider what some ways are that you might enjoy being present in the moment. Is it taking deep breaths, practicing a body scan, completing a sensory check in? If you currently have a mindfulness practice, what, if any, changes might you want to make to continue to grow and nurture and support your well being? So, as you're reflecting here in the last few minutes, I want you to think about what you might like to try or explore as you add mindfulness into your current rhythms and routines. As you're identifying what that action or task might be, I invite you to consider what tools or support or even accountability you might need to establish or consider as you get started. As you're developing what that might look like for you, what does success look like? Or how are you going to measure or track your progress? And one final question for you to consider: how can you make this task or action just a little bit more specific? Is it, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths before I start my day at work? I am going to set my phone down before I eat food, whether that's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I'm going to check in with my spouse or significant other while the screens are off around us. Whatever that action may be, I encourage you to get as specific as you possibly can with it so you can start to identify where you want to start, but also where that might lead you. So I invite you to consider, how might well-being connections be there to support you? What resources or support might you need? Accountability, information, a little bit of both? We have services to meet you where you're at on your well-being journey. Feel free to grab the QR code here and visit our services page, or you can always message us or reach out for more information. Thanks for joining me for this Huddle summary. I look forward to seeing you soon. All the best.